So morning, my lovelies. Just begin lying down or seated, whatever you prefer this morning. Just have a few moments to settle. Maybe just close the eyes. And let's just kind of connect in with ourselves. If you're seated, I quite like the idea of rooting down from your tailbone. Imagine roots, and then lying down perhaps from your feet. Connecting with the earth always makes us feel grounded and safe. And just take a moment to notice how you're feeling within yourself today. Whether you're calm and fairly peaceful and content, or whether there is a little bubbling of anxiety that you notice on the side. Could it be excitement? Because that can sometimes feel very similar. Are you holding any irritation or mild anger anywhere? Without judging it, just literally noticing. And if there is a little bit of a mix of emotions, what's the most predominant one that you're feeling, perhaps in this moment? And as we just take a few breaths together, lovely soft belly breaths, and we bring the energy up into the chest and the heart space, we can notice if our feelings start to sort of shift. Like a cloud never stays the shape that we see. Within seconds, a bit has branched off or it's changed somehow. And our feelings can be like this. How would you like to feel? We can set an intention for this practice of peacefulness or joy. How does it feel to breathe as well? Is it open and easy, or do you feel a bit of resistance? Often I find how we breathe can reflect a little bit what's going on in the outer world. It can reflect in our physicality, in our inner world. So we're going to come into meditation. If you're lying down, just hug the knees in. And if you're already seated, wonderful, but have a moment just to adjust or bring a blanket across your knees. And as those of you kind of rolling up again, just notice what you may be feeling in your back and your spine today. You know me well enough that I like to use affirmations and the power of positive thought, even if we're not in that space. In this present moment, the idea of repeating an intention of what we do intend or what we desire or what our goal is very powerful. When we change the way we look at things, the things we look at change, which Wayne Dyer always says. And so when we can change our thought, whether it's something we can buy into passionately or not, when we change the thought enough times, our behaviour changes. It just has to. We know that when we think negative things, our behaviour reflects it. So that's how I see powerful affirmations working. So we're going to take a thought that's linked with our physicality today and how we feel in our body and our cellular structure. So you can sort of paraphrase this yourself, but I'd like to sit with an affirmation along the lines of, every cell in my body is healthy, or excuse me, all is well in my world, something along those lines. Let it resonate with you, but know that everything is working, like with your shoulders, like with hips or knees. Just imagine them being in perfect working order, because at the end of the day, we're just cells. And when the mind connects with that and healing, wonderful things can happen. I'm very open to this sort of thing. So let's put the 5-minute timer on and just come to an affirmation that you just bounce around in your mind. Every cell of my body is well, or all is well in my world. Relax into this positive idea. And as we sit with this thought, almost talk to your cells, lovingly knowing that they're healthy and vibrant. Allow your mind to create other positive phrases. And just keep saying wonderful, loving things to yourself. Just continue to be really lovely towards yourself, whatever you're saying. Feeling healed. Feeling beautiful inside and out. And just as we come towards the end of this, I just want you to repeat to yourself in your mind just 3 times, I am miraculous. I am miraculous. I am miraculous. We are little miracles. And just blink your eyes open. And just notice how you feel, whether you repeated the same little phrase to yourself or there was a little bit of a variation, a conversation going on in your mind while you sat there. But how do you feel? I hope you joined me in really just saying really positive things towards yourself. It really is so powerful and healing on the inner consciousness. Remember, the subconscious is working so much more than the conscious mind at times. So it's what we do tell ourselves. If you've ever read a book called Dying to Be Me, her name is Anita, and I can't remember the surname, a woman who had cancer in the very late stages of cancer, was sort of minutes or hours away from dying, went over to the other side, had an amazing kind of experience, you know, and came back to her body and has written the book to tell. And the one thing I do remember from that book, if you're ever inclined to read it, is that we are all miraculous. And yes, I invite you to read that book. It is quite powerful. So we're going to start with Oyster, our first pose. So take the right leg in front, and then we'll be in sync. And then the left leg behind, just so that they're nice and parallel, rather than sort of tucking legs under, having them sort of nice and parallel in front of us. We're going to feel it in the hips as we lean forward. And if you want to just sort of wiggle so that the sit bones connect to the mat. And then just exploring this. Our hips are very linked with our emotions and sacral chakras, so noticing what comes up for you. And just gently softening. It always takes me about a minute or so to really get into a pose and allow things to just release and look around the body again. So just noticing if there's any tightness in your calf muscles or inner thighs. And as we settle into the feeling that we're getting in the hips, we can start to relax the upper body, head and neck, shoulders. And bringing awareness to our breath. Noticing if, as the time passes, if you want to lean into this more, whether that feels right for you. Feeling a deeper stretch around the hips, buttocks. Very stimulating for gallbladder. Are your wrists and hands relaxed?
And do you like the pose today? Is there like a deep ache going on in the pelvis and hips? And we'll take a nice deep breath, gently come up.
Oh, feeling that nice relief as we lift out of that stretch. Take neutral just so that we can feel that, and then come into the other side with a real kind of fresh feeling. Relax. Checking in how you're feeling through the lower back and spine. Just trying to relax here as well. Often there's a bit of a tension before we can really feel safe enough to let go. Maybe just returning to that nice thought of every cell in my body is happy, healthy, and vibrant. And when you're ready, let's bring these in, have a little hug. Massage your back. And then gently rolling up. Coming into the other side with the left leg to the front. And just settling in. If you need support under your thighs, if your thighs come up higher than mine, and you just want to have a load of cushions just to really relax, please use whatever you've got around you. And gently softening. When you really focus on your breath in your belly, taking a nice deep inhale, and then the exhale, noticing how that feels in your lower back, that movement of breath. And allowing the body, upper body to soften even more. Where do you notice your awareness resting? Is it on the physical body, or are your thoughts more prominent? Just notice where you are when you're in this space.
You can explore your emotions that come up. Notice where the emotions reside in your body. Noticing any new sensation you're feeling and whether you can be curious about it. And just returning to the breath. We'll gently lift up, nice and slowly, feeling that lovely relief. And then neutral spine. I like to move really slowly when I come out of these poses, so I can really kind of absorb every feeling that I'm feeling in the body. Just allow yourself that lovely time to deep breath and relax. Allowing the arms to relax, muscles through the back. Perhaps you can notice or observe how long it takes you to really kind of let down the body. There are little stages of the back relaxing. Try and relax your face. Notice if there's any tension in the forehead or the cheeks. And then when you're ready, bring your right knee in. Then your left, have a nice little hug. I'm going to come into twisted roots next. So if you've got a couple of blankets or cushions that you want to use to rest knees on, I'm going to use a cushion at the knee and just a little rolled up blanket for the opposite shoulder. Whatever you've got handy is great. So lying in this semi-supine and then crossing that left leg over right, rolling the body, or I tend to lift the body and sort of place myself down. Just take a few moments to get into this position, moving your props until they're just perfectly in place for you. And then let the body relax. You might find that your kind of legs slip a little and then the feet just find a place to stop.
where you can relax the inner thighs, let that tension go from holding the legs in position. So check through your legs where there's tension. And then loosening around buttocks, lower back and the waist, both sides. Relaxing into your shoulders and supporting as much as you need to if there's any injury or ailment there still. And then neck. So often there's a lot of tightness in the neck. Reposition your head if you need to. And relax. It's really lovely when you find that you can come into this pose and just really relax. Other times you might come into it and almost feel like you need to come out and come back in again, just to feel the right position. And just as you lie there in the quietness for a while, notice where your mind was. Were you on the physical layer or thoughts taking you off on tangents? Just return to your breathing every now and then when the mind wanders. Feel the belly rise and fall and the movement of breath through your body. Just being in this now, this present moment. How does this pose feel for you today? Is it welcome? Was it not as comfortable as some other times we've been in it? And why could that be? What's going on? Keep relaxing anywhere that you find slightly tense. Back of the neck perhaps, the face, fingers. And then when we're ready, we'll take a lovely deep breath and really slowly, one limb at a time, just unravel. Checking in with how it feels to move the legs and the back. And just finding neutral spine.
How does that feel? Do you feel that more in your back today? Or the digestive system really felt good in that twist? Perhaps it's a lovely sensation that you're feeling around your ribs. Just tuning in. And if you've got your eyes closed, you can kind of almost imagine what's going on in the body now, where the spongy cartilage between your vertebrae just plumping up again, finding an evenness from being twisted and squeezed. The spine is just finding its natural shape. And then we'll hug knees in. Again, take your time here, there's no rush. It's nice to just be very gentle as we transition from one pose to another. Lifting the head here if that feels good. Just a bit more stretch through the back. The whole idea of yin and the sort of the feminine energy of this is to feel nurtured. You know, when we come into this little rock, we can hug our arms around our legs and give ourselves a cuddle. And then when you're ready, let's come into the other side. So just swap in your cushion and whatever props you've got to the other opposite corners. And we're bringing legs over to the left. So right leg over left as you cross to begin with, and then bringing the body over. I think the more padding that you use, the more you really relax. So don't be afraid to really sort of stack up all the softness around you. And then gradually letting the legs relax, the inner thighs. Taking a moment just to feel safe enough to relax through the back. And then upper body. Just occurred to me in my mind, if you can get to a position where you think, I'm fairly comfortable, I could doze off here. I think that's where we're aiming for. You can just feel a lovely stretch, but also very relaxed. Noticing any sort of tension or clenching in the buttocks, letting go. How do you feel today? Hopefully very relaxed. Other times you might feel like a bit of a coiled spring when you come into this one, and it really takes time to let go. Following your breath. Try and relax the neck, Adjust the head position if you need to. And how do you feel in this pose today? This very much targets the digestive area, so solar plexus and sacral, which are connected with our emotions and feelings and our self-worth and our action taking in life. How courageous we are. Just keep looking through the body for anything else you can release and let go. Following your mind, just being the witness of your thoughts. And we'll take one more breath. Really slowly. Really being very aware of that lower spine in this pose as we come out. Just enjoy following your breath. As you lie here doing this, just notice the temperature around the ring of your nostrils. Coolness as you inhale, and the nice warmth as you exhale. What part of the nostril do you feel the temperatures the most? So when you're ready, let's bring the knees in. Again, no rush, enjoy a moment or so here. Very slow rocks, or if you want to, little circles. And then if you've got 2 blocks, we're going to come into heart bench. And I'd like to offer that if heart bench doesn't feel right for you today, some days I like it and it's my favourite. Other days you might prefer something just like bench where you just lie over the cushion. So just choose what your body might feel like it needs today. If you're coming into heart bench, as always, take a few moments to lie down over the block that aligns along your spine behind the heart and then resting the head. And sometimes you might just need to kind of move it up and down the back a few times just to find sort of the most perfect place that you can begin to settle. Notice what you're feeling when you come into this pose. I'm always very curious about not just how poses affect us in a physical way, but how the pose and the position opens the chakra most linked with it and the energy here. We might come into this pose at the beginning of 5 minutes and we feel quite closed-hearted. And then just allowing the body to be in this particular shape. Maybe something softens in us and the doors of the heart open a little bit more. Something that I repeat to myself quite often from Wayne Dyer is, if you have the choice to be right or to be kind, always choose kind. If you're in a tumultuous sort of conversation with someone and you know that you're right in some strange way and they're arguing their point, if you have the choice to be right or be kind, be kind. As you breathe here, notice the parts of the body that move. And the lovely feeling of being a lot more open in the chest. Allowing the lungs to be far more open than when we're perhaps folded forward. And if your eyes are closed and you're just breathing easily, thinking of all the little sacs of air that are opening and expanding as we breathe in, and then collapsing of air as we breathe out. Notice if you can relax through the back of the head and neck more. Then when we're ready, very slowly lifting the head first, using your arms to support. Coming up out of this pose. And then come down to neutral, but keep one block handy. Then we're going to come into bridge later on. But rest back and just explore what's going on. What are the after effects? As you breathe gently, just watching whatever you're feeling just fade. It might take a while to fade, whatever you're sensing in the body. And how does your heart energy feel? Can you feel very tiny shift in your feelings? So let's bring right, then left leg in, little hug. Just to counterpose that last pose, heart bench, I'd like to come into turtle, which is a compression. Being careful of your knees. If it's really difficult to come back, buttocks to heels, it's always nice to perhaps use a nice blanket behind just to soften the joint. And if that's too much, then maybe coming into more of a, forehead down and a little bit more of a puppy position. So whatever feels right for you. But we're just going to stretch the back. This is a lovely stretch for the back here. If you need a block under the head, that's an option. We won't take whole 5 minutes here. We're just kind of coming to this to stretch out. Take some deep breaths. Feeling your chest against your thighs. There might be a tension in the abdominal muscles. See if you can let them go and the shoulders just round and relax. If at any time you need to come out of this, please do. Very grounding pose, as close to the earth as we can get in this little ball shape. Keep trying to relax the belly if you can and breathe deeply. It's particularly nice for the stomach meridian, this pose. And a nice stretch over the ankles and tops of the feet. What's going through your mind? If it's discomfort in the pose, gently come out. If you're noticing gently a surrender. So when you're ready, let's gently come out this one. Bring the hands either side of your head and slowly lift up. When we've had the head really low to the mat, we can sometimes get a bit of dizziness. So just gently find nice neutral spine. There's times I liked that pose today. It's nice to share if you like it or not, because there are times when I'll come into a pose and I really don't like the feeling of it in that particular moment, in that time, in that space. It's so strange how, that's why it's so good to come into each pose with an open curiosity, because one day we may do it and another day it'll be a completely different feeling. Just take the time to let your spine soften. And then we'll draw knees in. I think we'll just come into relaxation now. So allow yourself just to relax. I thought I had a little bit more time left for another pose, but we'll do it another day. Come onto your mat, either lying down or seated, whatever feels right for you. Just get yourself cozy. I'm going to pull an angel card. See what lovely wisdom we're going to get given today, and whether it will resonate with all of us or one of us. Oh, one's fallen out. I'm going to take that one because usually that's just been guided and given. Layla. So as you lie there relaxing or seated, whatever you've chosen, this is just time to soften into your body, allow the mind to be free. Layla, spend time alone in nature, meditating about your desires and intentions. Ask the angels to help you gain a positive perspective. Your life has been noisy lately, and you need to escape into a place of natural tranquility. It is time for you to be alone in nature, even if it is just for a brief while. You don't need others' permission to take care of your soul in this way. Simply plan your sojourn and then follow through with those plans. Once you are alone in nature, allow your mind to wander wherever it wants to go. Notice your thoughts and feelings, perhaps write them down. After a time, speak aloud or silently to the nature angels that surround you. Ask them to clear your body and aura of any stress that you may have absorbed.
Then meditate and pray about your desires and intentions. Prayers are amplified by the power of nature, and you will feel very refreshed when you return home. So maybe just think about if there's some little woods or park or place you can go, perhaps even just down to the sea, whatever nature you enjoy, whether it's the greenery or the water. Being by water is very healing. It's said to dissolve negativity. So, or perhaps a walk through woods, looking at the bluebells. Just take your mind to a scenery now where you can just feel that. And perhaps even in this just time of rest, imagine talking to the nature angels of any guidance. So very gently, wherever your mind is resting at the moment, perhaps just have that lovely flash of a scene of nature in front of you in your mind. Take that with you today, and if you can get out in nature, even better. Take a few deep breaths. And then wiggling fingers and toes if you're lying down. And if you're seated and you want to just rock the head or shoulders, just bringing back a little bit of movement as we come back into our day. And those of you lying down, if you want to hug the knees in, take the time to have a nice long stretch. There's no rush. Feel into the back of your body. Feeling good. And then gently rolling up to seated. Have a moment just to settle. And then, as you draw hands to heart, Om Shanti. Namaste.